to the TaBNWNE Wikipedia News Edition. On 5th episode of Season 2 is Ferrari. Ferrari STA is an Italian luxury sports car manufacturer based in Maranello, Italy.
Founded in 1939 by Enzo Ferrari, 1898 to 1988, the company adopted its current name in 1945 and began producing its line of cars in 1947.
Ferrari became a public company in 1960, and from 1969 to 2014 it was a subsidiary of Fiat STA.
It was spun off from Fiat's successor entity, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, in 2016.
Ferrari's cars are known as symbols of success, wealth, speed, elegance, sportiness, and prestige.
The company currently offers a large model range, which includes several supercars, Grand Tours, and one SUV.
Many early Ferraris, dating to the 1950s and 1960s, count among the most expensive cars ever sold at auction.
Owing to a combination of its cars, enthusiast culture, and successful licensing deals, in 2019 Ferrari was labeled the world's strongest brand by the financial consultancy Grand Finance.
Throughout its history, the company has been noted for its continued participation in racing, especially in Formula One, where its team, Scuderia Ferrari, are the series' single oldest and most successful.
Scuderia Ferrari have raced since 1929, first in Pro Grand Prix events and later in Formula One, where since 1952 they have fielded 15 champion drivers, won 16 Constructors' Championships, and accumulated more race victories, 1 to 2 finishes, podiums, pole positions, fastest laps and points than any other team in F1 history.
Historically, Ferrari were also highly active in sports car racing, where their cars took many victories in races like the Mille Miglia, Targa Florio, and 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Scuderia Ferrari fans, commonly called tifosi, are known for their passion and loyalty to the team.
Enzo Ferrari was not initially interested in the idea of producing road cars when he formed Scuderia Ferrari in 1929 with headquarters in Modena.
Scuderia Ferrari literally means Ferrari stable and is usually used to mean Team Ferrari.
Ferrari bought, repaired, and fielded Alfa Romeo racing cars for gentleman drivers, functioning as the racing division of Alfa Romeo.
In 1933, Alfa Romeo withdrew its in-house racing team and Scuderia Ferrari took over as its works team. The Scuderia received Alfa's Grand Prix cars of the latest specifications and fielded many famous drivers such as TaBNWNE and Chilvarzi.
In 1938, Alfa Romeo again brought its racing operation in-house, forming Alfa Corse in Milan and hired Enzo Ferrari as manager of the new racing department, thereby disbanding the Scuderia Ferrari. In September 1939, Ferrari left Alfa Romeo under the provision he would not use the Ferrari name in association with races or racing cars for at least 4 years.
A few days later he founded Autovio Costruzione with headquarters in the facilities of the old Scuderia Ferrari.
The new company ostensibly produced machine tools and aircraft accessories.
In 1940, Ferrari produced a racing car, the Tipo 815, based on a Fiat platform.
It was the first Ferrari car and debuted at the 1940 Mille Miglia, but due to World War II it saw little competition.
In 1943, the Ferrari factory moved to Maranello, where it has remained ever since.
The factory was bombed by the Allies and subsequently rebuilt, including works for road car production. The first Ferrari badge car was the 1947 125S, powered by a 1.5 L V12 engine. Enzo Ferrari reluctantly built and sold his automobiles to fund Scuderia Ferrari. The Scuderia Ferrari name was resurrected to denote the factory racing cars and distinguish them from those fielded by customer teams. In 1960, the company was restructured as a public corporation under the name SEFACSDA, Società Esercizio Fabbrici Automobili di Corse. Early in 1969, Fiat took a 50% stake in Ferrari.
An immediate result was an increase in available investment funds, and work started at once on a factory extension intended to transfer production from Fiat's Turin plant of the Ferrari engine Fiat Dino.
New model investment further up in the Ferrari range also received a boost. In 1988, Enzo Ferrari oversaw the launch of the Ferrari F40, the last new Ferrari launched before his death later that year.
In 1989, the company was renamed Ferrari SPA.
From 2002 to 2004, Ferrari produced the Enzo, their fastest model at the time, which was introduced and named in honor of the company's founder, Enzo Ferrari.
It was to be called the F60, continuing on from the F40 and F50, but Ferrari was so pleased with it, they called it the Enzo instead.
It was initially offered to loyal and recurring customers, each of the $399 raid, minus the $400, which was donated to the Vatican for charity, at a price tag of $650,000 apiece, equivalent to £400,900. On 15 September 2012, 964 Ferrari cars worth over $162 million, £99.95 million, attended the Ferrari Driving Days event at Silverstone Circuit and paraded around the Silverstone Circuit, setting a world record. Ferrari's former CEO and chairman, Luca Di Montezemolo, resigned from the company after 23 years, who was succeeded by Amedeo Feliza, and finally, on 3 May 2016, Amedeo resigned and was succeeded by Sergio Marchins, CEO and chairman of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, Ferrari's parent company.
In July 2018, Marchand was replaced by board member Louis Camilleri as CEO and by John Elkann as chairman.
On 29 October 2014, the FCA Group, resulting from the merger between manufacturers Fiat and Chrysler, announced the split of its luxury brand, Ferrari.
The aim was to turn Ferrari into an independent brand. 10% of the stake would be sold in an IPO in 2015.
Ferrari officially priced its initial public offering at $52 a share after the market closed on 20 October 2015. On 10 December 2020, CEO Louis Camilleri announced that he will step down, as CEO and Chairman John Elkann will step into the interim CEO role until a permanent successor is selected. On 9 June 2021, the company announced the appointment of Benedetto Vigna from Geneva-based ST Microelectronics as its next CEO starting September. Since the company's beginnings, Ferrari has been involved in motorsport, competing in a range of categories including Formula One and sports car racing, through its Scuderia Ferrari sporting division, as well as supplying cars and engines to other teams and for one make race series. 1948 AC815 was the first racing car to be designed by Enzo Ferrari, although it was not badged as a Ferrari model. Scuderia Ferrari has participated in several classes of motorsport, though it is currently only officially involved in Formula One.
It is the only team to have competed in the Formula One World Championship continuously since its inception in 1950.
Jose Froilan Gonzalez gave the team its first F1 victory at the 1951 British Grand Prix. Alberto Ascari gave Ferrari its first Drivers' Championship a year later.
Ferrari is the oldest team in the championship and the most successful. The team holds nearly every Formula One record.
As of 2014, the team's records include 15 World Drivers' Championship titles, 16 World Constructors' Championship titles, 221 Grand Prix victories, 6,736.27 points, 679 podium finishes, 207 pole positions, and 230 fastest laps in 890 Grand Prix contested.
Of the 19 tracks used in 2014, 8 have lap records set by the F2004, with a further 3 set by the F2003 GA, F2008 and F10.
At the end of the 2006 season, the team courted controversy by continuing to allow Marlboro to sponsor them after they, along with the other F1 teams, made a promise to end sponsorship deals with tobacco manufacturers.
A 5-year deal was agreed, and although this was not due to end until 2011, in April 2008 Marlboro dropped their on-car branding on Ferrari.
In addition to Formula One, Ferrari also entered cars in sports car racing, the two programs existing in parallel for many years. In 1949, Luigi Chinetti drove a 166 into Ferrari's first win in motorsports, the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Ferrari went on to dominate the early years of the World Sports Car Championship, which was created in 1953, winning the title 7 out of its first 9 years.
When the championship format changed in 1962, Ferrari earned titles in at least one class each year through to 1965, and then again in 1967.
Ferrari would win one final title, the 1972 World Championship of Makes, before Enzo decided to leave sports car racing after 1973 and allow Scuderia Ferrari to concentrate solely on Formula One.
During Ferrari's seasons of the World Sports Cars Championship, they also gained more wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, with a factory team earning their first in 1954.
Another win would come in 1958, followed by 5 consecutive wins from 1960 to 1964.
Luigi Chinetti's North American racing team, NART, would take Ferrari's final victory at Le Mans in 1965. Although Scuderia Ferrari no longer participated in sports cars after 1973, they have occasionally built various successful sports cars for privateers.
These include the 512 TaBNWNE in the 1970s, the 333 ST, which won the IMSA GT Championship in the 1990s, and currently the 458 GT2 and GT3, which are currently winning championships in their respective classes.
Competizione GT official drivers are Alessandro Pierguidi, James Collado, Miguel Molina, Antonio Fuoco, Daniel Serra, David Riggin, Nicholas Nielsen, Alessio Rovera, Lulu Waddups, Andrea Bertolini, Tony Villander, Giancarlo Fisichella, and Olivier Beretta. Throughout its history, Ferrari has supplied racing cars to other entrants, aside from its own works Scuderia Ferrari team. In the 1950s and 60s, Ferrari supplied Formula One cars to a number of private entrants and other teams.
One famous example was Tony van der Velde's team, which raced the Finwall Special, modified Ferraris before building their own Van Wall cars.
The North American racing team's entries in the final 3 rounds of the 1969 season were the last occasions on which a team other than Scuderia Ferrari entered a World Championship Grand Prix with a Ferrari car. Ferrari supplied cars complete with V8 engines for the A1 Grand Prix Series from the 2008-9 season.
The car was designed by Rory Byrne and is styled to resemble the 2004 Ferrari Formula One car.
Ferrari currently runs a customer GT program for a racing version of its 458 and has done so for the 458's predecessors, dating back to the 355 in the late 1990s.
Such private teams as the American Racing TaBNWNE and Italian AF Corse teams have been very successful with Ferrari GT racers over the years.
This car, made for endurance sports car racing to compete against such racing versions of the Audi R8, McLaren MP4-12C, and BMW Z4 E89, has proven to be successful, but not as successful as its predecessor, the F430.
The Ferrari Challenge is a one-make racing series for the Ferrari 458.
The FXX is not road legal and is therefore only used for track events. The first vehicle made with a Ferrari name was the 125S.
Only two of this small two-seat sports/racing V12 car were made.
In 1949, the 166 Inter was introduced, marking the company's significant move into the Grand Touring road car market.
The first 166 Inter was a four-seat, 2+2 Berlinetta coupe with bodywork designed by Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera.
Road cars quickly became the bulk of Ferrari sales. The early Ferrari cars typically featured bodywork designed and customized by independent coach builders such as Pininfarina, Scaglietti, Zagato, Vignale and Bertone. The original road cars were typically two-seat front-engine V12s.
This platform served Ferrari very well through the 1950s and 1960s.
In 1968, the Dino was introduced as the first two-seat rear mid-engine Ferrari. The
Dino was produced primarily with a V6 engine, however, a V8 model was also developed.
This rear mid-engine layout would go on to be used in many Ferraris of the 1980s, 1990s and to the present day.
Current road cars typically use V8 or V12 engines, with V8 models making up well over half of the marque's total production.
Historically, Ferrari has also produced flat 12 engines. For a time, Ferrari built 2+2 versions of its mid-engine V8 cars.
Although they look quite different from their two-seat counterparts, both the GT4 and Mobile were closely related to the 308 GTB.
Ferrari entered the mid-engine 12-cylinder 3 with a Berlinetta Boxer in 1973.
The later Testarossa, also mid-engine 12 cylinders, remains one of the most popular and famous Ferrari road cars of all time.
The company has also produced several front-engine 2+2 cars, culminating in the recent V12 model Lusso and V8 models Roma, Portofino and Lusso T.
The California is credited with initiating the popular current model line of V8 front-engine 2+2 Grand Touring performance sports cars.
Starting in the early 2010s, with a Ferrari, the focus was shifted away from the use of independent coach builders to what is now the standard, Ferrari relying on in-house design from the Centro-style Ferrari for the design of all its road cars. In the 1950s and 1960s, clients often personalized their vehicles as they came straight from the factory.
This philosophy added to the mystique of the brand.
Every Ferrari that comes out of Maranello is built to an individual customer specification.
In this sense, each vehicle is a unique result of a specific client's desire.
Ferrari formalized this concept with its earlier Carrozzeria Scaglietti program.
The options offered here were more typical, such as racing seats, rear-view cameras, and other special trim.
In late 2011, Ferrari announced a significant update of this philosophy.
The tailor-made program allows clients to work with designers in Maranello to make decisions at every step of the process.
Through this program, almost any trim, any exterior color, or any interior material is possible.
The program carries on the original tradition and emphasizes the idea of each car being unique.
The 1984-88 GTO may be considered the first in the line of Ferrari supercars.
This pedigree extends through the Enzo Ferrari to the LaFerrari.
In February 2019, at the 89th Geneva International Motor Show, Ferrari revealed its latest mid-engine V8 supercar, the F8 Turbo. Ferrari SF90 Spotmill is the first ever Ferrari to feature PHEV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle architecture, which sees the internal combustion engine integrated with 3 electric motors, 2 of which are independent and located on the front axle, with a third at the rear between the engine and the gearbox. Ferrari has produced a number of concept cars, such as the Mythos.
While some of these were quite radical, such as the Modulo, and never intended for production, others such as the Mythos have shown styling elements that were later incorporated into production models.
The most recent concept car to be produced by Ferrari themselves was the 2010 Chile. A number of one-off special versions of Ferrari road cars have also been produced, commissioned to coach builders by wealthy owners.
Recent examples include the P4/5 and the 612 Kappa.
The Special Projects Program, also called the Portfolio Coach Building Program, was launched in 2008 as a way to revive the tradition of past one-off and limited production coach-built Ferrari models, allowing clients to work with Ferrari and top Italian coach builders to create bespoke, bodied models based on modern Ferrari road cars.
Engineering and design is done by Ferrari, sometimes in cooperation with external design houses like Pininfarina or Fioravanti, and the vehicles receive full homologation to be road legal.
Since the creation of Ferrari's in-house styling center in 2010 though, the focus has shifted away somewhat from outside coach builders and more towards creating new, in-house designs for clients. The first car to be completed under this program was the 2008 SQ1, commissioned by a Japanese business executive.
The second was the P540 Superfast Aperta, commissioned by an American collector.
The following is a list of special projects cars that have been made public. An F430 Spider that runs on ethanol was displayed at the 2008 Detroit Auto Show.
At the 2010 Geneva Motor Show, Ferrari unveiled a hybrid version of their flagship 599.
Called the HYKERS concept, Ferrari's hybrid system adds more than 100 horsepower on top of the 599 Fiorano's 612 HT.
Also in mid-2014, the flagship LaFerrari was put into production.
From the beginning, the Ferrari naming convention consisted of a three-digit unitary displacement of an engine cylinder with an additional suffix representing the purpose of a vehicle.
Therefore, Ferrari 125S had 1.5 liters, 1,496.77 cubic centimeters V12 engine with a unitary displacement of 124.73 cubic centimeters, whilst S suffix represented sport.
Other race cars also received names invoking particular races like Ferrari 166NM for Mille Miglia.
With the introduction of road-going models, the suffix Inter was added, inspired by the Scuderia Inter racing team of Igor Trubetskoy.
Popular at that time 166 series had 2.0 liters, 1,995.02 cubic centimeters. Engines with 166.25 cubic centimeters of unitary displacement and a very diverse 250 series had 3.0 liters, 2,953.21 cubic centimeters of total displacement and 246.10 cubic centimeters of unitary.
Later series of road cars were renamed Europa and top-of-the-line series America and Super America.
Until the early 1990s, Ferrari followed a three-number naming scheme based on engine displacement and a number of cylinders. V6 and V8 models used the total displacement in the cylinders for the first two digits and the number of cylinders as the third.
Thus, the 206 was a 2.0 liters V6 powered vehicle, while the 340h used the 3.4 liters V8. Although, for the F355, the last digit refers to 5 valves per cylinder.
Upon introduction of the 360 within the digits for V8 models, which now carry the name as well as a number, refer only to total engine displacement.
The numerical indication aspect of this name carried on to the F430. The F430's replacement, the 458 Italia, uses the same naming as the 206 and 348.
The 488 uses the system formerly used by the V12 cars.
V12 models use the displacement in cubic centimeters of one cylinder.
Therefore, the Fate 365 Daytona had 4,390 cubic centimeters, 268 cubic inches, V12.
However, some newer V12 engine Ferraris, such as the 599, have three-number designations that refer only to total engine displacement or boxer-style designations such as V. Nominally 6-liter V12 612.
Flat 12 models use the displacement in liters for the first digit and the number of cylinders for the next two digits.
Therefore, the 512 DP was 5-liter flat 12, a Berlinetta boxer in this case.
However, the original Berlinetta boxer was the 365 GT4 DP, which was named in a similar manner to the V12 models.
Flagship models, aka Halo cars, use the letter F, followed by the anniversary in years, such as the F40 and F50.
The Enzo skipped this rule, although the F60 name was applied to a Ferrari Formula 1 car and is sometimes attached to the Enzo.
Some models, such as the 1980 Mondial and 1984 Testarossa, did not follow three-number naming scheme.
Most Ferraris were also given designations referring to their body style.
In general, the following conventions were used. M. Modificata, placed at the end of a model's number, denotes a modified version of its predecessor and not a complete evolution. CF 512M and 575M Maranello.
GTP, Gran Turismo Berlinetta models are closed Berlinettas or coupes.
GTS, Gran Turismo Scoperta. This suffix can be seen in older spiders or convertibles. C365 GTS/4.
Now the convertible models use the suffix spider, spelt I, CF355 spider and 360 spider.
In more recent models, this suffix is used for target top models, Sabino 246 GTS and F355 GTS, which is an absolutely correct use of the suffix since scoperta means uncovered.
An increasing number of people tend to refer to GTS as Gran Turismo Spider, which creates the false assumption that Ferrari does not know the difference between Spider and Targa.
The 348 TS, which is the only Targa named differently, is an exception.
GTO, Gran Turismo Omologata, placed at the end of a model's number, denotes a modified version of its predecessor.
It designates a model that has been designed and improved for racetrack use while still being street legal.
Only 3 models bear those 3 letters, the 250 GTO of 1962, the 288 GTO of 1984, and the 599 GTO of 2010. This naming system can be confusing, as some entirely different vehicles use the same engine type and body style.
Many Ferraris also had other names affixed, like Daytona, to identify them further.
Many such names are actually not official factory names.
The Daytona name commemorates Ferrari's triple success in the February 1967 24 Hours of Daytona with a 330 P4.
Only in the 1973 Daytona 24 Hours, a 365 GTD/4 run by NART, who raced Ferraris in America, ran second, behind a Porsche 911. The various Dino models were named for Enzo's son, Dino Ferrari, and were marketed as Dinos by Ferrari and sold at Ferrari dealers. For all intents and purposes, they are Ferraris. In the mid-1990s, Ferrari added the letter F to the beginning of all models, a practice abandoned after the F512M and F355, but adopted again with the F430, but not with its successor, the Ferrari 458. Ferrari's symbol is V, prancing horse, Cavallino M20, little prancing horse, a prancing black horse on a yellow background.
Minor details of its appearance have changed many times, but its shape has remained consistent. It is always presented either as a shield, with the Italian tricolor above the horse and the initials SF, Scuderia Ferrari, below, or as a rectangle, replacing SF with the word Ferrari rendered in the company's trademark typeface.
Enzo Ferrari offered an account of the horse's origins.
In his story, after a 1923 victory in Ravenna, the family of Francesco Baracca, a deceased flying ace who painted the emblem on his airplane, paid him a visit.
Teolina di Biancole, Francesco's mother, suggested that Ferrari adopt the horse as a good luck charm. He accepted the request, and the prancing horse was first used by his racing team in 1932. Applied to their Alfa Romeo 8C, with the addition of a canary yellow background, the color of Modena, Enzo's hometown.
The rectangular prancing horse has been used since 1947 when the Ferrari 125S, also the first Ferrari branded sports car, became the first to wear it.
For many years, Rosso Corsa, racing red, was the required color of all Italian racing cars.
It is also closely associated with Ferrari even after livery regulations changed, allowing race teams to deviate from their national colors. Scuderia Ferrari continued to paint its cars bright red, as it does to this day.
On Ferrari's road-going cars, the color has always been among the company's most popular choices. In 2012, 40% of Ferraris left the factory painted red, while in the early 1990s the figure was even higher, at 85%.
Some Ferrari vehicles, like the 288 GTO, have only been made available in red.
Although Rosso Corsa is the color most associated with Ferrari, it has not always been the color of choice.
Ferraris raced by privateers have run in a rainbow of colors, and one 250 GTSWD used as a test mule for the 250 GTO was a rare non-red factory black car. It raced in blue.
In a particularly noteworthy case, from 1964, while protesting the FIA's homologation requirements, the company moved its racing assets to NART, an affiliated United States-based racing team.
As a result, Ferrari and driver John Surtees won the 1964 Formula One season in American colors, blue with a white racing stripe.
Red has also become less common on Ferrari's road cars, fighting with newly popular colors like yellow, silver, and white. Speaking to both the popularity of Rosso Corsa and the power of the Ferrari brand, Enzo Ferrari is reported to have once said the following: "Ask a child to draw a car, and he will certainly paint it red." Ferrari meticulously manages its brand image and public perception. It goes to great lengths to protect its trademarks, and its customers are expected to honor its rules and guidelines when caring for their cars.
The company is noted for its frequent and diverse lawsuits, which have centered around such subjects as the shape of the Ferrari 250 GTO's bodywork, exclusive rights to model names, including Testarossa and Purosangue replica vehicles, and several unsanctioned owner modifications.
Ferrari aims to cultivate an image of exclusivity and refined luxury.
To facilitate this, vehicle production is deliberately limited to below customer demand, and purchasers are internally ranked based on their desirability and loyalty.
Some cars may only be purchased by customers who have already owned multiple Ferraris, and the company's most exclusive supercars, such as the Ferrari, have waitlists many times in excess of total production, with only the most loyal customers selected to purchase one.
Jay Leno, the host of Jay Leno's Garage, has never owned a Ferrari due to his distaste for this business model, which he once likened to rich guys that go to an animatrix.
Sometimes, Ferrari's desire to maintain its brand perception goes against the wishes of its clientele.
In one case, the company sued the fashion designer Philip Klein over distasteful Instagram posts featuring his personal 812 Superfast.
The posts, which showcased two models in suggestive positions atop the car, were seen by Ferrari as unlawfully appropriating the Ferrari brand to promote Klein's clothing and as being outside Ferrari's intended brand perception.
Furthermore, the company places restrictions on what owners may do with their cars. They are not allowed to undertake certain modifications, and the company's right of first refusal contract, designed to discourage speculation and flipping, prohibits unauthorized sales within the first 2 years of ownership.
Purchasers who break these rules are placed on a blacklist and may not be permitted to buy a Ferrari vehicle through official means.
These owner restrictions came to high profile in 2014 when the musician deadmau5 was sent a cease and desist letter regarding his highly customized Ferrari 458, the car, which he dubbed the Ferrari, possessed custom badges and a Nyan cat theme wrap, and was put up for sale on Craigslist.
Ferrari does encourage its buyers to personalize their cars, but only through official channels, which include its tailor-made program for bespoke trim packages and special coach molding initiatives for more demanding conditions.
The customization options offered through these channels are extensive, though they are always in line with Ferrari's desired branding. For example, the company offers no pink paint for its cars.
In 2017, the CEO of the company's Australasian branch commented that this and similar customizations are against the company's ethos, and that such a stance is a brand rule. No pink, no Cayman Ferraris. In 1963, Enzo Ferrari was approached by the Ford Motor Company about a possible buyout.
Ford audited Ferrari's assets, but legal negotiations and talks were unilaterally cut off by Ferrari when he realized that the deal offered by Ford would not enable him to stay at the helm of the company racing program.
Henry Ford too consequently directed his racing division to negotiate with Lotus, Lola, and Cooper to build a car capable of beating Ferrari on the World Endurance Circuit, eventually resulting in the production of the Ford GT40 in 1964. As the Ford deal fell through, Fiat approached Ferrari with a more flexible proposal and purchased controlling interests in the company in 1969.
Enzo Ferrari retained a 10% share, which is currently owned by his son Piero Lardi Ferrari.
Ferrari has an internally managed merchandising line that licenses many products bearing the Ferrari brand, including eyewear, pens, pencils, electronic goods, perfume, cologne, clothing, high-tech bicycles, watches, cell phones, and laptop computers. Ferrari also runs a museum, the Museo Ferrari in Maranello, which displays road and race cars and other items from the company's history. In 1997, Ferrari launched a long-term master planned effort to improve overall corporate efficiency, production, and employee happiness.
The program was called Formula Uomo and became a case study in social sustainability.
It took over 10 years to fully implement and included over 200 million euros, 2008, in investment. Ferrari has had a long-standing relationship with Shell Oil.
It is a technical partnership with Ferrari and Ducati to test as well as supply fuel and oils to the Formula 1, MotoGP and World Superbike racing teams.
For example, the Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline Fuel has been developed with many years of technical expertise between Shell and Ferrari. Ferrari has had agreements to supply Formula 1 engines to a number of other teams over the years, and currently supply the Alfa Romeo and Haas F1 teams. As of the end of 2019, the total of Ferrari built and sold cars in their whole company history is 219,062. In January 2020, the Italian carmaker said it will recall 982 vehicles for passenger airbags due to the Takata airbag recalls.
If the inflator explodes, the airbag will spew metal shrapnel at passengers, which can cause severe injury.
Every car involved will get a new passenger side airbag assembly, complete with a new inflator without the dangerous propellant. On 8 August 2022, the company recalled almost every car it sold in the US since 2005 over a potential for brake failure.
According to an NHTSA recall filing, 23,555 Ferrari models sold in America are fitted with a potentially faulty brake fluid reservoir cap that may not vent pressure adequately.
The fix is simple. Roughly 30 Ferrari boutiques exist worldwide, with 2 owned by Ferrari and the rest operated as franchises.
The stores sell branded clothes, accessories, and racing memorabilia.
Clothing includes upscale and lower-priced collections for men, women, and children. Some stores include race car simulation games for entertainment. There are currently 2 Ferrari-themed amusement parks in the world. Opened in 2010, Ferrari World Abu Dhabi is the first Ferrari-branded theme park in the world and boasts 37 rides and attractions.
Located on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, it is home to the world's fastest roller coaster, Formula Rossa, and a dynamic coaster with one of the world's tallest loops, Flying Aces.
Opened in 2017, Ferrari Land in PortAventura World Resort is the second such Ferrari-themed amusement park in the world after Ferrari World Abu Dhabi.
With 16 rides and attractions, it is home to Europe's fastest and highest vertical accelerator coaster, Red Force. That's it for this news today. Thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on post notifications for more amazing contents. And see you in episode 6. Signing off, everyone.